Okay, so tonight we are continuing with our series on practical spirituality of a brand new topic. We've done simplicity, we've done happiness, and tonight I just want the truth, nothing but the truth. You can't handle the truth. So can we handle the truth? That's the question for tonight. And what does it mean? The midah of emes, in terms of being a Jew. So there's this trait, this midah of emet, and how can we connect with this? What does this mean in the world of Rebbe Nachman? Rebbe Nachman once said that it's better to die than to live a life of a lie. To live a lie is worse than not being alive. Okay, that's pretty intense. That's pretty intense. You know, that to live a lie is the worst mistake a person could make, the worst sin that a person could possibly do. I think some of you might have heard from me before that it's something that I like to quote. That I heard this video. I saw this video of this doctor that works in Israel, and he works with people who are dying, and he helps people to pass away in the most pleasant way, and meaning that if it means having your family around, if it means not being in the hospital, if it means to make up with somebody, that's his job, to help people go in the easiest way possible, and so he's constantly talking to people before they die, right? So he says that he noticed a recurring theme of different things that people regret before they pass away, and so he made a list of these things, and he listed five things that people regret before they died. That number one, that they worked too much. Okay? That they spent too much time at work, meaning that they looked at work as an end, and it's really only a means. They realized that you work because you make a living for something, and just the work was not what they wanted to do with their lives, and they just wasted way too many hours on work. Number two, that they didn't invest enough time in their family. Number three, that they didn't invest enough time in their friends. Number four, that they were too serious. That they regretted that they were too serious. That they didn't let their guards down. They didn't have enough silly time. That was something that a lot of people regretted. And the fifth, and what he looked at as the most important thing, is that they regretted not living authentic lives. Meaning that they felt that they were living their lives for somebody else. They were getting the kind of career that somebody else thought that they were supposed to get. They were marrying the person that somebody else thought that they were supposed to marry. And they just, they never asked themselves, what do I really want? And they ended up living unauthentic lives. Okay? And this is something that really haunted them. That haunted them on their deathbed. They're I never really started living. I really threw my life in the garbage because I never asked myself, what do I really believe in? What do I really stand for? And Rebbe Nachman is really putting it to in our face that if you're going to live a fake life, then he's not saying kill yourself. that's for sure not. But you're worse off than not living. You're worse off than not living to live a fake life. So it's for tonight. I would like to. I don't know how many. If there's going to be just one class or more than one class, but I would like to try to investigate, to try to understand what is this midah of emet, and what is it, and what does it mean for us? How can we connect with this midah of emet? So emet literally means truth. So when we think about truth, usually the first thing that comes to mind is that I shall not tell a lie. Right? Who said that? George Washington, right? so the it's about not telling untruths, and this is certainly a Jewish value, it says in the Torah, midvar sheker terchak, that you shouldn't lie. It's a true thing that you shouldn't lie. It says that a person has to have a hin tzedek. A person's word is a word. If your word is not something which is trustworthy, that's a very lowly person. A person that when you say you're going to do something, that you don't do it. That if your word is if your word isn't worth something, then like it's a very it's a horrible stain on your soul. It's a horrible stain on your reputation. So it's certainly true that the part of the mitzvah of emes is to simply follow through, to be a person who is a truthful person. That when I say I'm going to do something, that means I plan on doing it. That when I say that something is true, it means I think it's actually true. I don't just recreate reality to fit with the way I would like it to be. There's if we think about it, what's the difference between something that's true and something that's not true? Right? If I say that I'm 26 years old, so then that's a lie. So what does that mean that it's a lie? It means that if you look for my records in the hospital 26 years ago, so they're not there, okay? Because it actually didn't happen, right? And a lie is something that has no backing in reality, okay? Something which is true, something which just has a backing in reality, okay? So when we talk about truth versus false, so true is something that exists, and something which is false is something that actually doesn't exist. Okay, so Chazal speak about this metaphorically. They say that kushta kai, the truth, is something that stands, and sheker en lo raglaim, and a lie doesn't have feet, meaning that it falls down. Now, what does that mean? So first of all, they were saying something. What they meant. Anybody have a pen I could show you? That okay. We'll try with signing that.
Raspberry juice.
Thank you. Wow. Okay. So on a simple level, on a simple level, what they mean is that emet, that aleph, mem, tav, they all have like two legs on the ground, so they're stable. Whereas sheker, a shen in the Torah is written with a dot, like a point in the middle. So shen, kuf, resh, they all end up with just a point. So like they're unstable, so they fall over, right? Okay, that's what I mean on a simple level. But obviously it's a metaphor for the fact. Thank you. Obviously, it's a metaphor for the fact that that's actually the essence of emet. Emet is something that it has backing. It has something holding it up because it's based on the truth. Okay, the truth, the actual reality is what's holding it up. Okay, that's what it means. That's what it means kushtakai. Sheker is something which is like it's fabricated. So because it's fabricated, so then it doesn't have it has no basis. Okay, so it's obviously going to just crumble. Okay, so when we're talking about being truthful. So what does it mean? What does it mean for something like that? What if something that doesn't have anything historical? Can something be true? Can something be true even if there isn't a physical reality that's backing it up? So obviously yes, right? If things which are right, things which are correct, things which are moral, things which are appropriate. So this is truth, right? The truth is that a person has to be a truthful person. The truth is that a person needs to be a gracious person. A person needs to be a kind person. The world of midot there's truth to it. There's truth to it. So what does that mean that it's true? Can you show me in some archaeological finding that it's actually there's a reality of it's nice to be a truthful person. It's nice to be a kind person. That there is no historical, there is no physical backing to it. So what does it mean true if there isn't a physical backing? So obviously it means that there's a different backing, and that is in the reality of God. Okay? That means that there is a backing, that there is an objective truth, and that is what's backing the whatever thing you're trying to say. So any truth that you're going to have, any truth that you're going to think of, so whether or not it's true, is it in sync with this higher truth? And what's this higher truth? This higher truth is God. Okay, that's what it means. That's what it means. True. Okay, that's like that. Now this is this is like an amazing look at life. The Rambam talks about this. He's in his discussion of the sin of the tree of knowledge. Okay, it's a very fascinating thing. The tree of knowledge. We spoke about this a little bit on Sunday. That the tree of knowledge is the Eitz Hadat Tovara, the tree of knowing good and evil, and this is the source of evil. This is the source of sin in the world. It's about the tree of knowledge, and the Rambam asks, like, why is that bad? Why is the tree of knowing good and bad? That seems like such an amazing thing. That seems like such a holy thing. It seems like such a godly thing. How could that be? The source of all evil is from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Okay? So the truth is that when I just translated good and evil, so it could be that's an inappropriate translation. Okay, the Rambam writes that you know what the difference is between what's bad about Tov and Ra. Tov and Ra means good and bad. So good and bad is not the same thing as correct or incorrect. Good and bad is not the same thing as true and false. Okay, and that's what we're talking about. That's emet. Emet, the opposite of emet is sheker, and a person should be living their life with the compass of emet versus sheker. A person should be living their life, which is what is truth. Now, what happened to Adam and Chava when they ate from the tree of knowledge? So they stopped looking at life with the compass, with the perspective of true and false, and they started looking with good and bad. Meaning that they went from a objective perspective to a subjective perspective. That before they ate from the tree of knowledge, so they looked at things that how does it fit objectively? What is the godly truth in this? Okay, this is Rabbi Nachman's first Torah. We were learning this in MSc. That Rabbi Nachman's first Torah is about that a Jew has to always look at everything in the world. Hey, let's look at everything in the world. Is that how does this fit into the objective truth of God's creation? So that when we're talking about true and false, true is the objective value of something, and false is the objective lack of value of something. Whereas Tov and Ra is that what's in it for me? Okay, that what do I get? Is this going to serve me? Is this going to be detrimental to me? So that when I'm asking myself that should I go to this movie? So a person before the tree of knowledge, I would ask myself, is this a true movie or a false movie? Is this a movie which is with that in God's objective reality? So part of God's truth is that this is a movie that should be seen, or this is a movie that maybe shouldn't be seen. And after the sin of the tree of knowledge, so then I started my entire look at life was tarnished, it was twisted, and I started looking with the glasses of Tov and Ra, with the glasses of, is it good for me or is it bad for me? Am I going to enjoy it? Is it going to be a pick-me-up? Is it going to be pleasurable for me, or is it going to make me sad? Is it going to like get me down? And from then, so we were programmed that this is the poison that got into our system, is that we live our lives with this perspective of that this is how we make decisions. Every decision in life, is this going to be pleasant for me? Is this going to make me happy, make me joyful, or is it going to be difficult for me? Is it going to be inconvenient? Is this going to, the Ishbitzer writes that every decision in our life, so it's not the questions that we have, the dilemmas that we have. It's not about good versus evil. It's should I do the right thing or should I do the easy thing? Like that's everything. Every single decision that we have in life is between doing the right thing and doing the easy thing. So the easy thing is the convenient thing, is the comfort zone thing, that's the Tov and Ra. That's the result of the sin of the tree of knowledge is that I'm looking at life with like, I like convenience, I like comfort, I like pleasure, and that's how I decide that, do I want something, do I not want something? It's what's in it for me, and that is the result of this poison of the tree of knowledge. This is like what Chazal call the poison from the snake. Okay, so this is how it poisoned our psyche, that we're all into ourselves. Okay, it's what's in it for me, and the opposite of this, is emet versus sheker, and true versus false, which is that is it in sync with a higher truth? Like, is this what God had in mind when He created the world? Okay, so this is the first kind. This is the first kind of emet. This is the first kind of truth that we're talking about, and Rebbe Nachman has an interesting Torah where he explains what is the thing that holds us away from this, holds us back from this. What is the thing that is our biggest obstacle in being a truthful person, like a person who looks at things from the way God wants us to look at it, like the way it is, the thing, to see something the way it is, you know. So he describes a midah, yeah.
Did you ask who in the Torah does that?
No.
Oh.
So he refers to this midah, which is the enemy, like the first enemy of MS, is midat hanitzachon. He says, Kizei yadua shemidat hanitzachon ina sovelet ha'emet. What does it mean, nitzachon? That a person that, I don't know if there's a good word in English for this, a person that needs to be right. The desire for victory. Okay, the desire for victory is the greatest enemy of truth. Okay, a person that has a deep desire for victory, so he won't be able to take truth. And he writes, that even when you show him the truth in his face, he's gonna deny it. He's gonna say something stupid to explain why he doesn't have to accept that, to explain why that you used illegal methods of proving it to him, so he doesn't have to accept your truth. And the point is that if I'm right, so like if your truth is going to make me not right, so then you can't be right. Okay? There was once Rav Chaim Shmulevitz was the Rosh Yeshiva in Mir. So he was once walking with a student, and let me open the window. It's very stuffy in here. That he was once walking with a student in the hall, and he passed two students that were arguing with each other and learning, and he said to the student that he was next to, that, oh, you know, those two boys, their argument today is consistent with what they were arguing about yesterday. And like so the kid he was speaking to was like amazed, like, wow, like, Rebbe, you're such a genius that like you just heard one snippet of conversation and you automatically understood that like the reason why he says like this is because really what he was saying yesterday was with this kind of mentality and this kind of philosophy, and because of that philosophy that also brought him to and like how could it be that so he looked amazed. So he said, so explain. You say that the guy on the right, so he always, everything he says is always coming from the same core belief, that really everything he's saying, he's trying to say one thing, and that is he's trying to tell his chavrusa that I can learn better than you. And his chavrusa, so everything that he's saying, all of the different ideas, so it's all the sum total of everything he wants to say is no, I can learn better than you. And really everything they're arguing, it's all the same. It's all that he's trying to say that he can learn better than him, and he can say he's trying to say it. And meaning that like nobody cares about the truth. Nobody cares about like what is the Gemara really trying to say, what is Rashi really trying to say, or what is Hashem really trying to say. That it's not about what can I listen, what can I hear, what can I take in. It's all about that how can I prove to you that I am better than you. Okay? So that's called midat hanitzachon, the desire for victory, the desire to be on top. Okay? And it's a horrible character trait. Like the need to be right. The need to be right. There was it's a good sign of a of a wise man, the fact that they're able to admit that they're wrong. You know, the many gedolim, many of our heroes, like the stories regarding this. Like for example, Shlomo Zalman Auerbach. Anybody here heard of him?
Yeah.
Right. So Shlomo Zalman Auerbach, he was the Rosh Yeshiva in a yeshiva in Beit Vegan called Kol Torah, and so when he was a young rabbi, he was like in his 20s, so he was trying out to become the Rosh Yeshiva of Kol Torah, and so he's part of the process of the what's it called, like when you're trying to get a job, application process, hiring process. Thank you. That's it. Part of the hiring process was to give a shiur in front of the entire yeshiva and in front of all the staff of the yeshiva. Okay, and like, let's see what you're made of. Okay, so he was giving in front of, like, he was giving his Torah class in front of like whatever 500, 600 people and all the biggest rabbis of the yeshiva, and so the one of the heads of the yeshiva, the guy that was hiring him, so he asked a question on what Shlomo Zalman had said, and so when he asked this question, so Shlomo Zalman thought for 30 seconds, and he said, I think that's a good point. I take back everything I said, and he sat down. Okay, and so there's 2 points to this story. First of all, that because of that midas ha'emes, because of Shlomo Zalman's truthfulness, that it wasn't about making a name for myself, but rather it's not about being right. It's about what's the truth. That is why that head of the staff actually took him to be the Rosh Yeshiva. Okay, that's number one. And there's a second point to the story that Shlomo Zalman said afterwards, that he was actually such a genius that the moment that this rabbi asked the question, so he immediately thought of 3 different answers with which he could answer the question. But he didn't want to say it because he was concerned that the answers weren't really coming from a place of truth, but really they were coming from a place of, I don't want to be humiliated in public, so that's why I'm saying this. So that's why it's true that I'm a bigger genius than you, so I can say it so quickly and so brilliantly that you'll think it's the truth, but because my first responsibility is to the truth, so I don't think that's appropriate to say such a thing. Okay, so so first of all, that there's the brilliance of the story of the fact what he didn't say. Okay, and second of all, there's the brilliance of the story of what he did say. Okay, then the fact that he is able to admit that he made a mistake. This is the real wise people know that it's okay. You don't have to. Yeah, there's. It's really annoying when you have people that they just need to be right, and they could be rabbis. Like sometimes you ask somebody a question. And the really they don't have the answer. So what's the correct response? If somebody asks you a question, you don't know the answer.
I don't know.
So also I don't know, and also tell them, that's an amazing question, right? And but like some people like they don't automatically, when somebody asks you a question, so they're the way that they describe, the way that they translate this interaction is that, oh, you're the ignorant nobody and I'm the wise teacher, so if I can't say anything, then we just wasted an interaction, right? So I better make something up quick, or tell you, or just like try to brush you off and say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have time for you, or something, like try to get out of the situation as quick as possible, because otherwise what's the point, right? And this is an idea that it says, I once heard a beautiful idea. that the on Siras Ha'omer, so we're mourning for the passing of the 24,000 students of Rabbi Akiva, right? So why were they killed? There was some plague? There was some plague that 24,000 students of Rebbe Akiva passed away. So why were they killed? So it says Shelo nagu kavod zeh b'zeh, that they didn't treat each other with respect. Okay, so it doesn't really say what that means. Okay, that's the Gemara in Yevamos. The Gemara in Yevamos says Shelo nagu kavod zeh b'zeh. Okay, but I once heard from my Rebbe that we see from the Gemara Menachos. We see from the Gemara Menachos what that really means. Okay, the Gemara Menachos says like this. It says that Rebbe Tarfon was saying a certain teaching, and one of his students, Rebbe Tarfon and Rebbe Akiva, were colleagues. Okay, they were the same generation. They have many arguments with each other. They have many discussions with each other. Okay, so Rebbe Tarfon was saying some teaching, and one of the students, who was also a student of Rebbe Akiva, so he asked a question, and Rebbe Tarfon didn't know the answer. And the Gemara says, "Tzavu panav," that he was so elated. He was so elated. I remember when I was 13 years old there was a rabbi that was very much makar of me when I was younger, and it's because of him that I am who I am today. Like, it's only because of him that I came to yeshiva. It's only because of him that I was able to get to everything. But I remember I was learning. He would learn with me for many years, like once a week from age 12 to age 17. But I remember how old I was, probably 14, 15 years old, and we were arguing, and I remember the first time that I was right, and he was raising his voice and arguing, and I was like, but no, and I was wasn't giving up, and finally he said, you're right, you're right. And I remember feeling so elated, so wow, I didn't know it was possible. And so the Gemara says that there's another story with him. His name is Rabbi Mordechai Kuber. He lives in Tastal now, and once I remember, I made a mistake, and I was gonna say, oh, I'll tell you why what I misunderstood, and I said, actually, it doesn't matter. And he told me, that's amazing. That's an amazing quality that what you just did. Did you realize that it doesn't matter what you misunderstood? That's incredible. That's the same thing. It's the same thing, because what was I trying to say? That I'm trying to explain to him that don't think I'm stupid, because I'm actually very smart. It's just that I thought this and this and this and this, and that's why I was gonna say what I said, but that doesn't matter, because it only matters from the perspective of that what's important is that I'm right. If what's important is the truth, so then it doesn't matter. Okay. Anyway, so back to Rebbe Tarfon. So this student he asked the question of Rebbe Tarfon, and Rebbe Tarfon didn't know the answer, and the student was tzavu panav. He was just wow. He was just in seventh heaven because he was in seventh heaven because he was right. And so Rebbe Akiva was standing there, and Rebbe Akiva says, "Tzavu panacha sheishtakta es hazaken." You're so happy that you were able to quiet the sage. You're able to shut up the sage. That you're able to silence him. That makes you happy. That makes you happy. He didn't have an answer for you. I will be amazed if you're going to be around here next year. That's what Rebbe Akiva said. And the Gemara says that this conversation took place right before Pesach, and before Shavuos, he had already passed away. Okay, so this is the Sfiras Ha'omer. This is the student of Rebbe Akiva that had passed away because Shelo Nagu Kavod Zeh. So we see from this Gemara, what does it mean? What does it mean? Shelo Nagu Kavod Zeh. It's that there's two ways to come to learning. Okay, there's two approaches, two perspectives with which a person can come to learning. That there's one perspective of that I care about the truth, and the other perspective is that I want to be right. Okay, so when a person asks a question, so there's two ways to ask a question. One way of asking a question is that, oh my gosh, I had such an awesome question today, right? When I have a question, so how do I feel? When you have a question, what does that mean? It means that there's something you don't understand, right? So like sometimes like I ask my kids did you learn anything interesting today? I asked and if they didn't learn anything interesting today, so I asked them, did you ask any interesting question today? Like it's nice to ask a question. It's always nice to be able to be present. Like everybody once in my Shabbos tables, so like I give place for people to say something, or to say who wants to share a story, to share and part of the reason I do it is because like people love to be the spotlight. People love to have like their moment. So if your moment was you asked a question, that's amazing. So when a person has a question, so what's he really doing? He's really saying that I don't understand something. So the question is, how do you feel about the fact you don't understand something? So it depends. If your perspective in life is, I want truth, I want understanding, so when I don't understand something, then that's horrible, that's tragic. I don't understand something, right? But if my point, if my motivation is that I want to be on top, I want to be on spotlight, so then I ask the question, whoa! And if the rabbi didn't know the answer, that's even better. That means that I'm so awesome that the rabbi didn't even know. Hold on a second, but if he didn't know, that means that, so what's the truth? That doesn't matter. The point is that I asked such a good question that he didn't know the answer. And so this is it's such a twisted way of looking at life. Everything, my entire perspective in life it's about me. It's not about the truth, it's about me. Okay? And this is really, in asking questions, there's a story with Reb Chaim Soloveitchik. Once a person came to Reb Chaim Soloveitchik, he was a maskil. Like a maskil is like 100 years ago, that's what they called off the derech people. They called them maskilim. Okay, the Enlightenment movement. Okay, the Enlightenment movement is a reference to the religious Jews that they went to learn secular studies, and because they learned secular studies, they stopped believing in God, they stopped whatever. That was the Enlightenment movement. So there was a maskil that came to Reb Chaim. And he said, Rabbi, I have a favor to ask you. I have questions in Emunah. I have questions about Judaism, like very serious questions that they're bothering me. That like it seems to me like these questions, like it bothers me. How does Judaism make any sense? And can I ask you these questions? So Reb Chaim said, no problem. Just one thing. When do you think of these questions? Do you think of these questions when you're still religious? Or do you think of these questions when you stop being religious? So he said, Rabbi, I'll be honest with you, most of these questions I only thought of after I stopped being religious. So Reb Chaim said, if that's the case, then I can't really help you. Because if you thought of the questions after you stopped being religious, then your questions aren't really questions, they're really answers. And I can't give an answer to an answer. Okay? And what did he mean? It means that a person, this Jew, he was brought up, you're supposed to keep kosher, you're supposed to keep Shabbos, and now none of his friends keep kosher, none of his friends keep Shabbos. So he went into, he fell to his temptations, and he started being like his friends, and he stopped keeping anything. And his guilt, his conscience, started bothering him. Oh, come on, but Hashem is watching, like it says in the Torah, you're not supposed to do this, you're being a bad Jew. So then he said, hold on a second. But who says the Torah is really true? Does it really make sense that God really gave the Torah? Does that make sense? Like God's infinite. Like you think he really God wrote a book? I think God wrote a book. That's it. quoting what's his name? This disgusting atheist, Hitchens. Is that his name? Hitchens. I think that's a quote for him. What? Well, Baruch Hashem.
Oh my.
Okay. Yeah. No, he's not just an atheist. He's a disgusting atheist.
He's very sassy.
Yeah. Like he's like you see very clearly, like, wow, if being atheist makes you makes a person like you, so I'm just for that. It's worth it to believe in God just so I can be not like you. Yeah. So that, like, do you think God wrote a book? God, you think like God, infinite God, you wrote a so it doesn't make sense. God that doesn't make sense. The whole thing's BS. There's no Torah. Some guy just made up this stuff. And you know what? So now I don't have to be Shomer Negiah because the whole Judaism thing is just made up. Okay, so I have a student that he went off the derech. He went off the derech because the rabbis insisted that he can't masturbate, and it was that was because of that he decided that it was too hard for him not to masturbate. So he insisted on just convincing himself that the whole Torah is just garbage, because a person stops being religious, and then they feel a conscience. So that's a problem. Oh, you're not keeping Shabbos. It says in the Torah you have to keep Shabbos. So I have an answer. I have an amazing answer. You know what my answer is? That it's all garbage. There's no Torah. Baruch Hashem. So that's an answer. So Reb Chaim says that I can't give an answer to an answer. I can only give an answer to a question, right? I think I've told you this before, that in Hebrew, in Lashon HaKodesh, so the word for question is the same word for a request, right? That Achashverosh asked Esther, Ma she'elatech Esther HaMalka. That what is your she'elah, right? I'll give you half the kingdom. What's your she'elah? What's it mean? What's your she'elah? That you have a good to be or not to be. What's your question, Queen Esther? Mm-hmm. E is MC cubed or MC squared? What do you say? What do you say, Esther? So what obviously she'elah means a request, right? What's your request? And yeah, we know that she'elah means a question. What's the connection between a question and request, right? So obviously, what's the connection? Because a question is actually a request. Because what is a question? It's a request for an answer. Okay, and a person that is obsessed with themselves, so when they ask a question, they aren't actually requesting for an answer. They actually are obsessed with their question. That, ooh, I'm smarter than you. I outsmarted the teacher. That's like they don't want to be they don't want to be answered. When the teacher answers them, they'll say, bad answer. They'll say, nice try. They'll be very quick to belittle the answer, because that's not the point. The point is that I outsmarted you, and that's what's important, right? So this is the opposite of emes, the opposite of a person who's looking at life with this perspective of nitzchanut, of person that needs to be right. So that is the biggest thing hindering him from emet. He's never going to become because emet is objective. In order to come close to emet, I need to forget about myself. I need to be looking for an objective truth. It's not about me. It's about the truth. Okay, and this is really the first kind of truth. That first kind of truth is that has a backing. It's not about me. It's about the absolute truth, and I care about the absolute truth. So the first thing that I need to do to come to truth is to a little bit forget about my ego. Okay, to realize that it's not. I don't need to be right. It's okay for me to wrong. That what's important in life is not for me to be right. There's No, it says the opposite, right? And on the road, you're not supposed to be.
Drunk?
You should. It's not about being right. It's about being smart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So no, this is the opposite. In life, it's good. It's important to be right, not to be smart. No, I mean you have to be smart. No connection.
You have to be smart
Okay.
and right.
So the
Right or happy.
what?
It's right or happy.
Right or
Say it in marriages. When you're right or you want to be happy.
interesting. Okay. Nice. Okay. So the truth, MS isn't that when a person is looking for MS, so it's not about me, it's not about what's pleasant to me, it's not about it's about how is it fit into a bigger picture. And the truth is, the person is living like this, so their life is actually more meaningful. Because if everything is about me, so my life is very small, my life is very myopic, right? And like that, if you ask me what do you I remember, I know people that when it comes to voting, so they'll vote for the people that for them specifically it's going to be better, even though they know that for the country at large it's actually worse. Right? It's a very myopic way of living life. Right? That's a very self-centered way of living life. That it's not about the truth; it's about me. Right? That's the word of politics. It's not just some people. It's really everybody. It's really just it's really most people that they vote for what's best for them, and they live their lives based on what's best for them, and they don't take a step back and think what's actually better for the world, what's actually better for mankind, what's actually better for the future of Judaism, and this is such a critical thing in being a mature adult, is to stop thinking about ourselves, is to just be more focused on the truth. So this is the first element of truth, okay? Is to be able to really to cleanse ourselves from this midah of nitzchanut, that there's this necessity to be right, and this is by doing so we're actually able to come close to emet, okay? And this is the first element of emet. The first element of emet is that there is an absolute truth from God, a God-given absolute truth, that Hashem Elokim emet, and when we're trying to be true people, that means that we're trying to live lives which are in sync with some absolute truth. Okay, that means that we're not just doing whatever the heck we want in life. Okay, a person of truth is a person that's living according to a higher value. Okay, there's a higher vision, a higher direction, and this is the first step. This is the first step of midas emes. And so this is what's it says that Hashem is the Hashem Elokim emet. That it says the truth is Hashem's stamp. Hashem is Hashem's seal. Thank you. That if a person wants to be close to Hashem, so the first thing is that you need to be a truthful person. That means that that person is like. I remember I was speaking to somebody, and I said that like I'm happy to have a person like he was atheist. He was like they were very not religious, very far from Judaism, and I said I'm happy to talk to you about anything, but with one condition, that we have to be it has to be a rational discussion. That means that if one of us says something that actually makes sense, so that you can't just say that I don't care. That's there's an expression in Hebrew, Al titen le'uvdot levabalotcha. Don't allow the facts to confuse you. A person has their way of thinking, the person has their way of life. This is what I've been doing for the past who knows how long, and the fact that you prove it to me that you're right, okay, that I don't care. That doesn't make a difference. And to be a truthful person means that I care about the truth. It means that I care about an objective truth. It's I realize that life is not just about being comfortable. Life is not just about just being right. That I actually care about an objective truth. Okay, And this is the first step. The first step of being emes. The first nakud of the midah of emes. The first point of this character trait of being truthful is that to overcome the desire to be right, to overcome the desire to be focused on myself, and to let go of my ego, and to care about the objective truth. So next week, B'ezrat Hashem, we'll continue on this topic more about being genuine, because there's a different kind of truthfulness. Okay, until now we're talking about being truthful to an objective truth. There's a possibly even more difficult truth, and that is being true to ourselves. Okay, and it's much more difficult because objective truth. So we can have discussions. We can argue and find and do research about what's the objective truth. But when it comes to our personal truth, so then it's much more difficult, because no one can help us. We need to figure it out ourselves. So it's not enough to be true to an objective truth. We need to be true to ourselves as well, and that Hashem we'll get to next week. So l'chaim, everybody.